Hello and welcome back to the She Leads the Way podcast, where we celebrate women in business and women in life. I'm your host, Nikki Bedford, and today's guest is Olya Kudinenko.
Exactly.
Okay, so they're right.
Hi, everyone.
She is the chair and founder of Tabletotchki, which is UK's largest charity for children with cancer. And today we're going to be talking about exactly what Olya is doing in that field, life as an entrepreneur and everything in between. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm so glad that I got your name correct.
Exactly. You're super fine. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm always so glad to talk about the cause and share my experience and journey. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Of course. Well, let's start from the beginning. Could you tell me a little bit about your background, where you've come from and how you moved into this space?
Yeah, so I had my bachelor's degree at finance, but on the first day of education, I understood that I'm not going to do finance. I'm so not into that. And I started working as a PR manager in corporate field. So I had 8 years of corporate public relations expertise. I used to work with political parties, charity foundations owned by family in Ukraine. I did some exhibitions and had internal communications, corporate, everything. A little bit of everything over there. But when I was 23, I had this huge feeling that I achieved everything in my career.
That's it, I'm done.
Exactly. And I'm so laughing right now from that. But I had this feeling that, I'm doing so great. I'm ready to help.
Yeah, but that's amazing though. That is like the level of sass and confidence that you need in this life. I mean, 23, that's pretty great.
And my salary was $1,000 per month, but I felt I'm so rich, so accomplished, I'm on the peak of the hill. And I had this feeling that I wanted to help someone. And I decided to help kids with cancer.
Yes.
And I started with a simple thing. In Ukraine, there were not available some pills, and I was traveling all over the world because of my job and because of vacations.
Yes.
And I started to brought pills into the country. And I thought, oh my God, this is so easy to do. Why not everyone is doing that? And I started posting on social media about this initiative.
What sort of pills are we talking?
So at the beginning, it was super simple pills from stomatitis that kids have, that kids having during chemotherapy.
Okay.
And those pills cost €3 per pack, and they were now available in Ukraine. And kids were suffering with the wounds in their mouths, and it was so easy to bring into the country. It was
wow.
It was allowed, but it was not available in the pharmacies there. And I thought, okay, why not everyone is doing that? And I posted on Facebook and saying to my friends, okay, please, if you're traveling abroad, buy these pills or you can donate money to me. And because I was from public relations, basically, of course, I knew how to communicate with people.
Yes, of course.
And step by step, I started, being more and more involved in the kids with cancer problems. And I understood two biggest things. First one, that it's so easy to solve the problem if you know how to address it, how to communicate about it. And the second, it was it was only because I was 23.
Yes.
On the first month, I fundraised approximately €1,000.
That's great.
Yeah, and I had this feeling, all problems of kids with cancer were solved. I felt I'm doing so great, oh my God, why nobody even
makes the difference though? I mean, you hadn't solved the entire problem, but...
I had such self-esteem and such self-belief in myself and I did so great. Nobody can do this.
I love that level of self-confidence though. That's something that needs to be taught.
This was because of my naive nature.
Yes.
And because I was so young and haven't experienced life. And I think most of the people, and when we're becoming more adult, more mature, we are afraid to do something because we expect problems.
Yes.
And we know how any field we want to do and interact is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're starting, for example, your podcast, you want to be, the best podcast for talking about women entrepreneurs. And you're looking for, for your competitors or someone who are working in this field. And you're saying, oh my God, they have 1 million followers already. I'm not going to achieve that. I just started and I have 1,000 followers. And this usually stops us because we want to be at the top from the beginning. And we don't know anything. It's so easy to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have any you don't have actual understanding of milestones. I didn't know that $1,000 is not enough. I mean, and it's so small, and the problem is so big in Ukraine, and it was not enough to bring just pills.
Yeah. I want to ask before you move on, why was it cancer that you were drawn to?
So I don't have any personal story, but at first I started being volunteer at the hospital. I came to the hospital,
yes.
and I was playing with the kids, and I was so bad in that. I mean, I'm not an entertainer, and I saw desperate moms and kids with understaffed rooms, like playgrounds, but they were not modern, they were not nice.
Yeah.
And my picture, as I remember it, it was gray, desperate, sad, and there were no hope. And I thought, okay, I cannot change this mood and this and this surrounding, just being there. But I can address the problem, and I can involve more people, and maybe I can fix something else.
Wow.
I didn't know back then that survival rate for kids with cancer in Ukraine was only 50%. Comparing to developed countries like USA, Canada, Germany, UK, it's more than 90 for most of the type of cancers. And then when I found out this, I thought, okay, definitely it's not enough just to bring pills. I have to expand my work.
Yes.
And at some point, after 3 years of my volunteering, I understood I cannot compare my corporate job, I cannot combine my corporate job and my volunteering. I have to choose. And I decided to go to NGO, to a nonprofit, and doing this full time just to change this survival rate. Because at the end of the day, what matters, what results we achieved. And we did a pretty great job. We still have things to do, but in Ukraine, I think survival rate right now approximately 70%, which means
it's not great. It's an improvement.
If we count, it's 7 children out of 10 makes through the cancer, and it was only 5.
Yeah.
Of course, we still have place where to grow, but step by step we're changing this.
Yes.
And when I started, nobody wanted to talk about kids with cancer because it was not a light topic to talk.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to interact with the problems. But we changed the attitude in the country. When I started, it was ages ago. In 2011, it was there were no websites in the country where you can donate money through the website and the credit cards. It was no regular payment that you can do online, sign your card for subscriptions.
Why do you think that is? Do you think that it was because it was a difficult conversation, or why weren't people talking about it?
I think many things. First of all, we were a young country. We're still a young country, but back then it was only 20 years for our country. And my parents, they came from USSR. And in USSR, there were no culture of helping each other. Okay. It was it was overall attitude that government will fix everything.
Yeah.
And people expected that all problems should be fixed by the government.
Yeah.
Secondly, it was no field as non-profit in the country. Nobody saw that it's possible to work there and to build a career there. Yeah. Nobody wanted to go to work to NGOs, and the salaries were miserable. You cannot survive on that salary, literally miserable. And it was not respectful. So I remember one of the first strategic sessions that I did after 3 years of volunteering with my team. I thought, okay, what do I want to achieve in my foundation? And one of the things that I wrote was I want to make prestigious to work at our foundation, and I wanted to attract professionals from big companies like Deloitte, Ernst & Young, KPMG. Yeah. I had those names in mind. And right now in my management team, I have people from KPMG, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, from everywhere. And they want to work in our foundation just because it's prestigious, and they also see result, and they know that they can fix the problem. So I cannot explain why exactly, but it was in nobody's agenda to talk about someone's help, you know.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, and that's what I changed in the country back then.
So how long have you had your charity for?
12 years.
12 years. And how did that come about? Was it that you left? Because
I left at some point. I understood that I couldn't combine both works.
yes.
And I saw how many things we have to fix.
Yeah, so you created it.
Yes. And if this is the thing, people want to fix social injustice and social problems, but they don't want to do this like as a full-time job. Yeah. I mean, not in the US. In the US, it's totally different. But in Ukraine, it was like that. We want to be volunteers, but we don't, and we want to fix the problems, but we want to do it at a free time.
Yeah.
When we don't have a work, which like, I don't know, 1 hour a day. It never works like that. The problem is huge. It was created by people or by nature or somehow. Yeah. And you have to devote your best intentions, your best minds, all your efforts to fix it.
Yeah, well, you are an incredibly special human, because not only have you knew that you wanted to give back to people, or you wanted to help people from such an early age, and the fact that you weren't even close to anyone that had experienced cancer. Usually, you know, people would move into that field having had that direct experience, but the fact that you hadn't, and then you moved into this realm, is a clear indication. Well, firstly, you're a special person, but secondly, that you were obviously put on this earth to do that. Do you feel that way?
No.
Okay.
If I will feel that way, it will, you know, blur my mind to be more concentrated on what can I do more. I will wear some, I don't know, crown and say that, like,
you wore a crown since 23. You gave yourself that crown.
This is so funny to remember this right now and, like, you know, to analyze. And I'm thinking how brave I was, because when I'm seeing, like, right now, where can I move?
Yes.
And I see how big the problem is, I'm scared, because I know it won't be the easy way to go. If somebody told me at the beginning that, you know, it won't take you in a year, it will take you 10 years to change. You will fight different, like, you know, fights. You will face different problems. It will be really hard to manage what you're gonna to accomplish what you're gonna accomplish. Of course. I would be scared. And right now, because I have this experience, and I know that it's gonna, you know, nobody's way or path is easy. Nobody's. But we usually see the end. I mean, not the end, but when we usually see people and see their results. And we see, like, them at this moment. And we're thinking, oh, I want to be there, but I don't want to go all this. What they face.
All of this difficult period. Can we just cut that out?
Yeah, I just want to be on 20th floor right away.
Corner office. Can you tell me, I want to pivot and talk about mindset, because being 23 and thinking that you've already conquered the world is incredible, because usually at that age, you have the highest level of self-doubt. As women, particularly, we struggle with that level of self-confidence. What advice would you give to women that are struggling with that self-confidence?
First of all, I believe that everyone struggles. I struggled in different, you know, in a different ways.
Yes.
But also, I truly believe when we are focused on ourselves and on our self-struggles, we are just, like, you know, like boiling in the same things.
Yes.
We're not bringing anything new. We're thinking, oh my God, I'm not good enough there. I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not professional enough. Whatever. Like, I'm not in the best relationship I could have. You know, like different spheres. And when we're thinking and concentrating about this all the time, we are not appreciating what we have already, and we're not moving forward.
Yeah.
So I'm just, like, usually say to myself, stop this, you know, thoughts. Just stop it. Stop. And I try not to overthink it all the times, you know. As you may know, I'm new in the US. I just moved like a year ago. And of course, I don't have the same level of life that I have in Ukraine. And I don't have career achievements here as I have back home.
Yes.
And some days, I'll be honest, I woke up and thinking, oh my God, I'm so not successful. I'm not there. I've been already 1 year in New York and I haven't achieved, I don't know. I'm not in this 20th floor with the corner view office, and I don't have all this recognition that I have that I had back in Ukraine. And I just say to myself, stop it. When you're focused on this one, you're not moving anywhere. And also, I know from research that our brains underline negative things 3 times like higher and like, more visible than a great thing. So when something bad happens to you, you have to find 3 good things that happen to...
Is that right? To balance it out?
To balance it out. So yes, I'm trying to remind myself loudly, literally every day, you have health, you have a good body.
Yes.
I mean, like, the health one, you have a daughter who is in a great school, you achieved already this,
yes,
that.
Yes.
And like, I'm trying to focus on every little good things, because bads are seen as a huge disastrous,
Yeah. And I think also in your case, you should think, what would my 23-year-old self think?
I think
she's a boss.
I think she didn't think like properly. She was just doing. And this is the key. I was not thinking properly. I was just doing. And I think when we're putting ourselves out, we have a possibility to achieve something.
Yeah, definitely.
Not focusing on our self-struggling.
Yeah.
It's not an objective something.
Yeah, of course. So having the business now for 11, 12 years, you would have gone through so many ups and downs. A lot of the She Leads the Way listeners, a lot of them are thinking about launching their own businesses, or they've just launched their own business. What advice would you give to women that are looking to launch their own business?
Just do it.
Just do it?
Just do it. I mean, think properly and go and risk there. I truly believe that we are overthinking everything. And especially when we are focused, and I think this is entrepreneurs' as a mindset. You have to go and to risk. You won't be successful all the time. You will fail for 100%. I won't be optimistic. You will fail. But if you won't try, you will never do it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that we are super concentrated right now, how to make it right, how not to make a mistake, how to be sure that this specific action will give this specific results. No guarantees. We don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows. We didn't know about COVID. We didn't know about, in my case, war in Ukraine. So just do it and you will see and you will navigate it. And when you are open to all possibilities, you will definitely meet new ways to solve something or to achieve something. So I'm trying to be focused like in my dreaming and like results. I want to achieve this and that, or even better, because we don't know what's going to happen.
No.
We don't know. And like, this is a reality. Just try it and see. Works it for you or no? I listened to your previous podcast with Irina Zagoreva. Yeah. And she changed so many, spheres and fields where she worked. She was just trying. She didn't know what she would like. Because sometimes I'm reading something, and I'm pretty sure most of the women and people do this, and thinking, oh, this is great, I'm going to try this. It can be in restaurant, it can be in some activity. And we're trying this, and we don't like it at all. This is not our thing. So the same with the career, the same with the business. You may envision yourself in some field, you're starting it, it's not your field, but when you're doing something, you have an inspiration to try the new things. And also, I truly believe, and in my experience, that inspiration and creativity come from work. When you're concentrating on something, you're thinking about it and like doing, you have more ideas to try.
Yes.
You have more insights, and you have like, your like ear is more focused to hear right things that you are looking for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know
right?
exactly what you're talking
So when
about.
you're working on, like, for example, podcasts, I think you can share that. You have more ideas that will bring you.
Well, when you're so focused and you're actually putting in the work, sometimes when you're worried, you'll stop. But actually what gets you out of it is doing. You need to create action, because even just doing the littlest thing or researching for 15 minutes will spark that level of creativity and innovation.
Yes.
So I couldn't agree more. And it's funny because it's the hardest thing sometimes is when you're overthinking, because you just think, oh, I don't even know what to do.
It stops you.
Then it stops you. But just do something, anything.
Exactly. I think that our overthinking blocks our creativity and blocks our action. So, and you will never know what's going to happen and what's going to stop you, or where the way will be, highway, So
You never know what'll take off. Yeah.
Exactly. I have so many stories, funny stories, where I met people like occasionally, like this elevator pitch, that everyone is talking about.
Yes.
And it just happened because I was out there. I was ready to meet these people, and like I knew. I mean, of course, I read, I Googled something, but I was ready to present and to talk to them. And if I would think how to meet them, how to be there, it will never happen.
No, it never will. You just have to throw yourself out there. And half the time they're probably thinking the same thing. No one really has everything figured out. And people do have a level of empathy these days that they understand because they've been through it as well, especially other business owners.
Exactly. And also, I think this thing is particularly familiar to women. We are so afraid that other people will talk about us and what they're gonna think about us and how they will, I don't know, some kind of gossip, and, talking about us.
Yes.
And when I was going through divorce, I was so afraid what people gonna say about me and how it will impact my, I don't know, career. I mean,
yes.
It won't impact my career at all.
No,
but
of course
but
not.
I was thinking about this. I was afraid of this. And my great friend, she said to me, let's discuss. How long we're discussing other people when we're talking with you? Even if we know that someone has a divorce, how much time it takes us to discuss this news?
Exactly. And no one cares.
Exactly.
Because people care about themselves more.
Exactly.
I completely agree. Even when I started this podcast, I just did it. I thought to myself, I'm just going to do it. And I did it. But I was so overcome with, what am I doing? Do I even know how to speak? Will if anyone want to listen? And all of those thoughts of this insecurity sort of comes to the surface. But then I think to myself, I'm like, well, I'm actually wanting to do the right thing by people. Like I actually have a purpose here. So who cares?
It's bigger than
and
you.
It's bigger. Exactly. And so as soon as you sort of do it, then you realize that it's more important to do what you're doing than to worry about people and what they may think. And now I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
And also, I love this trick that I always do with myself.
Tell me, what is it?
I want my mind is circling in circles and saying some bad things to me.
Yes.
Like, I don't know, this project will fail, you will never find a new project, whatever, you will never fundraise this amount of money.
Yeah.
I stopped myself by asking one simple question. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you 100% sure? And nobody can be sure for 100%.
No.
So this is just literally, trick your mind, trick your brain to stop it from, circles.
I do the exact same thing, except when I am saying something negative, I will just stop myself and say the opposite. Like just the opposite, because it's about the repetition. And the more that you say something, the more you'll start to believe it as well.
Exactly.
So if you start to believe it, it'll happen. If you believe, I can't do it, then you won't be able to do it because you truly believe that. So that's everything that you're putting out there. Your effect and your impact on what you're doing will be the same. So if you say, I can, or I am great at this, I am a good public speaker, I am a great friend, then those things will come to fruition as well.
Exactly. So, we just shared all our secrets, so everyone will achieve it. Everyone will achieve success.
Yes, everyone will achieve success. Lastly, I wanted to know, what is the future for you and the business?
So, I don't know right now. I'll be honest. Last year, when the war started in Ukraine, I was just about to start building a hospital for kids with cancer in Ukraine. And for 9 days, I was the happiest person in the world.
For 9 days?
9 days, because on 15th of February, I received the first commitment gift for $20 million out of 65. And in 9 days, Russia invaded Ukraine. So, yes, but those 9 days, I was really happy.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Oh, you would have been so happy. That would have been the 9 days of, I wonder if 9 is a number of significance for you. It is now.
But then the war started. We started to evacuate kids. We evacuated more than 1,500 children to 16 countries.
Yes.
They continue treatment. So the charity works as usual. We support 500 families per month. And we work with hospitals. So we support with education doctors and nurses in Ukraine. But talking about me personally, I don't know. I want to try myself here in New York in different fields. I want to try working here in nonprofit. So I'm looking for the job. It's definitely a new market.
Yes.
I'll continue fundraising for Ukrainian kids with cancer. I have an NGO here, Kids of Ukraine, that are registered in the States to continue my operation. And what I'm doing for 12 years, I just cannot stop it. Already, it's like, I'm riding this high.
You're committed to this now.
Exactly, for 12 years I've been. But yeah, I want to discover myself in a different circumstances. I'm thinking, if my life had this turn that I'm here, which was unexpectedly for me, I need to gain new experience. I need to try. Maybe I'll find new problem that I want to solve. And I'm so naive and thinking that one small thing will change the whole.
But it would have changed it a little bit at least.
Yes, we'll see. We will see. So I'm trying to be open right now to everything that are going through me.
Yes.
To find proper place where I can show all my talents and use all my experience to change the world.
Amazing.
I'm thinking, many fields needs our improvement.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They definitely do. No, I'm so excited for you, and I'm so grateful to have you on the show. Thank you for joining me.